Hello, thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Chamberlain Otoa, Channels Television here in Abuja. I'm joined by Vincent Makori from Voice of America in Washington.
Thanks. I'm Vincent Makori at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Chamberlain Oso in Abuja brings you that story.
The dearth of infrastructure, inadequate teachers, as well as poorly equipped laboratories are hampering learning in unity schools across the country. That's according to the report from the Service Compact with All Nigerians, Servicom. The report recommends that the federal government pay urgent attention to the recruitment and deployment of teaching staff for mathematics, chemistry, and English language. Our correspondent, Friday Okerigbe, takes a deeper look on issues that undermine learning in Nigeria.
Principals and administrative heads from 15 unity schools across the country are attending this meeting with officials of the Federal Ministry of Education and the National Coordinator of the Service Compact for All Nigerians, Servicom, in Abuja.
I'm representing the Director Principal.
The meeting is the formal presentation of the Servicom Compliance Evaluation Report on 15 unity schools to the Minister of Education. The report identifies some impediments to learning and effective service delivery in the schools. The report also highlights other areas of concern, including the poor state of students' accommodation, bullying and lateness to classes by some teachers.
Then deployment of teachers. This one rests squarely with the ministry. And so we are hoping to see, especially in the essential subjects, so that we can have more teachers posted. Then it was observed during the evaluation that most of the equipment in the biology and agricultural laboratories were outdated. We need to update them and improve around that so that they can have best practice around learning in biology and agriculture.
The report further recommends a quick fix to some of these challenges in order to scale up service delivery in the unity schools.
Our teachers need more training. I've seen it personally from my interaction with some of you. And the good luck is that government too is planning some things to reposition the teaching profession.
We are processing waivers. Like I said, it's a centralized recruitment system we run currently.
There are 104 unity schools across the country, originally created as centers for academic excellence. However, the Servicom report is also recommending long-term solutions that will restore the glory days of these centers of academic excellence.
I'm Chamberlain Otoa, Channels Television here in Abuja, and joining me now is a program manager at Youth Hub Africa, Olusegun Medukmi. Well, hello, Mr. Medukmi. Thank you for joining us on Africa 54.
All right, thank you for having me. Morning.
All right, so the dearth of infrastructure, inadequate teachers, as well as poorly equipped labs are hampering learning in unity schools across the country. Is this something that resonates with you?
Yes, also every human being in Nigeria now will have been familiar with some of these challenges. And of course, I think where the discussion should be is what should be done, how should it be done, and the urgency with which Thank you. So some of these challenges around science teachers, mathematics teachers, even English, laboratory, and all that were problems that has been with us for a while. For instance, I remember 91 to 98 when I was in school, secondary school, for instance, after the normal schooling hours, we were hauled to an extra school in the afternoon to go and learn some of these things. It means the school, the normal school has not been able to give us the best that we should get. I think it's worse now. It's worse now that most of the infrastructure are no longer there. There is infrastructure deficit. And of course, everything, we will heap it on governance. Governance at all levels, national, state, and even from at the school level. And what I think should be done at this time is to look at the existing framework that put these things in place. Of course, we've never had a doubt of solution or a doubt of policy or a doubt of idea in Nigeria. We always have ideas and solutions for almost everything that we could pinpoint around us. But it's to make them work that is the issue now. As I speak to you, the NSEC bill is in the House. That is the Nigeria Senior Secondary Education Commission bill. Is a commission that was exhumed from inactivity about 2 years ago by the current administration. But the lack of funding is still there, and this commission is supposed to take care of the SS1, SS2, and SS3, and I'm not sure they have the funding that they deserve. For instance, the Universal Basic Education Commission, the Universal Basic Education Act that put in place the commission, that is a fantastic policy, and it has its existing framework, and we are looking at how to tweak it up to make it work better. That has also not lived up to its full potential. With this, if we have good leadership and the political will to make this thing work, I tell you, we will have the necessary teaching aid, the training for the teachers, that will have enabling environment for the students, and we can surmount most of these challenges. But again, lastly, it's not going to happen just in a day, because it has been there from my time till now, and so we don't expect it to be solved maybe within a year or two.
Still speaking about exploring possible solutions to this unpleasant scenario, there was this talk about addressing a wider problem beyond just teachers of these three fields. Parents wanting to have a stake or contribute to the overall learning and well-being of students in the place, and then unity schools being owned by federal government. Can there be any middle ground here for you?
So I will approach this in two prong way. The presence of parents in how unity schools or every part of our education in the country runs could be number one. Participatory in the sense that the parents or the community, let me use the community, which include parents, myself, you, and every other person, to be involved in basic education budgeting. And that spells a lot of accountability, and maybe some of the stakeholders will not want that. The part that the parent has to pay. The second part is, of course, the existing idea of the Parent-Teacher Association, like I mentioned, that we always have solution for everything. The Parent-Teacher Association is recognized by some of government policies, and also we should strengthen it and make sure that it's not just there to support fee for teachers, fee for labs, and all those. We could leverage on that platform to also get endowment for schools to get labs working. For instance, the school I finished from, maybe I want, as a parent, I want to give them an endowment and all that. But these two, if well oiled and well engaged, I think it will, to a very great extent, solve some of these challenges.
One more thing. If you were to recommend to the government in terms of what immediate steps that can be taken to address this challenge in the education sector, what would it be?
My recommendation will not go to the government at this point. It will go to the citizens. We are close to the election period. And I think every advice we've given to government in the last 4-8 years or thereabout, none of it has worked. And so I will say the citizens should ensure they choose a leader that will be able to put his or her feet on the ground when it comes to education and education financing.
Very well then, Mr. Olusegun Medukmi, Program Manager, Youth Hub Africa. Thank you for your time on Africa 54.
Thank you.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, failure of a fifth rainy season in the Horn of Africa has authorities and aid groups scrambling to prevent famine, while nearly 1 million Kenyan children face acute malnutrition. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Drought in the Horn of Africa is worsening hunger across the region, including in Kenya, where authorities say nearly 1 million children are acutely malnourished. The failure of a fifth rainy season in a row has authorities and aid groups scrambling to prevent famine. Ahmed Hussein reports from Wajir County in northern Kenya.
Kenya's National Drought Management Authority in November said more than 942,000 children aged below 5 are malnourished, along with 134,000 pregnant and lactating mothers. About a quarter of the suffering are in 3 counties in northeast Kenya: Garissa, Mandera and Wajir. Wajir authorities say 16% of the county's children under 5 are malnourished, like Catherine Marty's 6-month-old daughter.
I brought my child for treatment for this clinic. We don't have enough food. As mothers, we suffer from the drought. The economy is down too, so we appeal to the government for help.
Kenyan authorities say the record drought has forced nearly 4.5 million people to seek food aid. Wajir authorities are now pushing screening campaigns and training more healthcare workers to detect early cases of malnutrition. Habiba Ali Maalim is a Wajir County Executive Committee member for health.
We currently trained 134 healthcare workers. They'll be able to identify those children who are malnourished and enroll them in our different programs. Another issue is that we have stabilization centers in 6 sub-counties, and currently we are admitting those children who are severe malnourished.
To lessen the impact from drought, government and aid groups have been sinking more boreholes and bringing emergency food. But aid groups like Save the Children say the need is too great.
In Wajir, we have 191 outreach sites offering nutritional and integrated medical services. We're also protecting livelihoods by providing animal feeds to emaciated livestock. We're also providing cash transfer programs to about 8,000 households across the county. We're doing a lot, but I know this is just a drop of the ocean in the ocean, and it's not enough.
Meanwhile, at the Maternal Child Health Center in Wajir, more mothers arrive to seek treatment for their malnourished children. Ahmed Hussein for VOA News, Wajir, Kenya.
Residents of Kinshasa, the capital city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, have been going through great lengths preparing for Pope Francis' visit to the country later this month, including cleaning roads and streets. The Pope's visit is highly anticipated as it will be a historic one for the papacy and for the Central African nation.
Before dawn, crews from Kinshasa Sanitary Police Brigade, armed with crowbars and aided by a bulldozer, set on demolishing makeshift stalls that crowd the busy intersection and the main artery of the Democratic Republic of Congo's capital. The attempt to give a full facelift to the sprawling city of over 17 million comes 2 weeks before the visit of Pope Francis to the Central African nation on January the 31st. On January the 13th, Kinshasa's governor oversaw a day of operations and seemed satisfied the traffic had become more fluid after the clean-up exercise.
Today, the traffic is fluid here, and we hope it will always remain like that.
The Lumumba Boulevard is the main road leading to the airport that will welcome Pope Francis, and authorities have warned that development works will be carried out on site. Many families in the city depend on the so-called informal sector, which includes street stalls, side shops, and hawking for their livelihood. But this street vendor has no alternative to sell her goods.
It's not really a problem, given we're not allowed to sell on Lumumba Boulevard. But in our case, we don't sell on the road, just nearby. Despite that, the police still come here and chase us away. I'm a widow. I pay my rent. I have a lot of children. I pay their school fees with what I earn here. I have no other job, and now we're being told we can't sell here.
George Yalala Kinshasa city coordinator for the campaign, said that the operation will continue after the Pope's visit. However, a Catholic priest, Victor Ntambwe, believes the authorities could have planned the operation better way before the visit.
I'm sorry for what the City Hall through the governor is doing. Did we have to wait for the Pope's visit to do something like this? I'm not sure we needed to wait for the Pope's arrival to start clearing the avenues and chase away street vendors.
Congolese authorities said the campaign is not directly linked to the Pope's visit, but rather an ongoing effort to free thoroughfares, pavements, and side streets, where traders and hawkers have set up shop, choking the city.
For 10 years, Ivory Coast in West Africa has been experiencing an unprecedented gold rush. And while it is a quickly expanding market for this historically agriculture-based nation, it is also causing a surge of illegal mining. For VOA, Yassine Kroa has more from Ivory Coast.
In the Daoukro region of central Ivory Coast, these gold miners are illegally digging. Bawentol is a 25-year-old farmer who arrived 4 months ago from neighboring Burkina Faso.
As there is often no rain, there is not enough water at home. So I decided to come and work in gold because it is in the gold that we can get ahead more quickly.
A gold miner can sometimes earn around $450 a month. It can take a farm worker a year to earn the same amount. In 2021, the state began trying to stop illegal gold prospectors by creating a special brigade that has run some high-profile raids on illegal gold mining sites.
I'm going to do the paperwork for the gold mine because I see it's important to do so. If I manage to get the papers, at least I won't be afraid.
Lassina Sako is the co-owner of this semi-industrial mine and works legally. He legalized his mine operation in 2015 when the Ivorian state issued a new mining code.
Today, gold is a good business, especially since the government has made many efforts to regularize the sector. It allows me today to be an entrepreneur. It allows me to work freely. It allows me not to worry about bandits.
At the local level, the populations do not have the technical expertise to preserve the environment, the fauna and the flora. They also do not have the capabilities to manage revenue to create added value in local development.
There is room to promote this sector more so that it is better known and understood and continues to contribute to the national economy.
Helping millions of clandestine gold miners become legal without depriving them of their source of income is no easy task, especially with the promise of gold money pushing more people into the illegal mining business every day. For Yassim Sio in Ivory Coast, this is Michelle Joseph, VOA News.
We're now in Egypt, where a group of meditation experts are taking people on a spiritual journey to connect with their ancestors. How? Let's head on to a retreat being hosted at the Giza Pyramids. Take a look.
In an overnight retreat called the Great Pyramid Initiation, a group of spiritual experts aims to explore the mysteries of ancient Egyptians and pay respect to their lineage. Kemet Tribe is a group founded by 3 women who believe in the power of spirituality and meditation.
We wanted to have access to our sacred sites, and we wanted to be able to facilitate that to other Egyptians. That was the intention, and then everything else just fell into place like pieces of puzzle. So we inform the people more about the roots and the history and the heritage of our beautiful country. And we also have the shamanic journey, which is a drum journey where people drift and journey in a guided map. So this is a shamanic journey. And there's also the sound medicine, where people receive healing through sound and vibration. And we also chant in ancient Egyptians. And this is one of our one of the highlights, because usually it's a lost tongue that is not known anymore, and making this accessible to everyday average people is very exciting and reviving to this history.
The ceremony includes singing ancient Egyptian prayers, performing a sound and other forms of meditation.
I've been heavily into not just ancient Egyptian history, but the spirituality aspect of our ancient origins for some while now, and there is absolutely no doubt that it's had an incredibly positive effect on my mental health. Anxiety gone.
Participants also get private access to the King's Chamber and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Despite mainly targeting Egyptians who want to reconnect with their ancestral roots, all those interested in spirituality of ancient origins are welcome to join.
The National Museum in Zimbabwe is displaying the remains of what scientists say is the oldest known dinosaur discovered in Africa. The skeleton was discovered in northern Zimbabwe, and researchers say it walked the earth about 230 million years ago. For VOA, Columbus Mavunga has more from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe.
Stored in this room at a museum in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, are some of the remains of Africa's oldest known dinosaur, the Mbiresaurus rat. Scientists say it lived 230 million years ago during the Carnian stage of the late Triassic period. Researchers say the dinosaur stood at least a meter tall, was nearly 2 meters long, had a long neck, small head, serrated teeth, ran on 2 legs, and weighed around 30 kilograms. A group of international scientists found the nearly complete set of remains in the Zambezi Valley on Zimbabwe's border with Mozambique and Zambia.
We are looking at having another expedition back there in the Mbire areas. We are hoping to find more.
The remains were unearthed during expeditions in late 2017 and 2019. Now the museum hopes to put it together for the public to see.
It was indeed quite surprising, because more often than not, when you speak about dinosaurs, we always think that it's organisms that never existed. But now the discovery proved that indeed they existed, especially in Zimbabwe.
The discovery was announced in late August, but some are just learning the news, like this 16-year-old history student who walked past the museum where the remains are being stored.
I was not aware that there were dinosaurs in Africa. I do not know where they're kept, where it's being kept. But there are dinosaurs here in Africa. This is Africa.
The discovery is a point of pride for the country, and museum officials hope by raising awareness they will get enough support to put the dinosaur together and showcase it to the world. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Bulawayo, Zimbabwe.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. Remember, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Chamberlain Osar. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.